All right, back with you, and thanks for staying on this afternoon. TV presenter Xolani Khumalo is ActionSA's Ekurhuleni mayoral candidate for next year's local government elections. The 34-year-old is known for hosting the anti-drug show Sizok'thola on DSTV's Moja Live. Newzroom Afrika's Katleho Sekhotho was at the announcement earlier. Joins me now in studio. Katleho, good to have you. Thank you very much for coming on this afternoon. Talk to us about the thinking at ActionSA around this figure.
Absolutely. So it was quite a surprise. And we've heard from leader of ActionSA, Mr. Mashaba, saying quite expressly that they're going to promising all these things ahead of the local government elections next year, making sure that they change the way of life in Ekurhuleni. One of the things that was mentioned by Michael Beaumont today was that Ekurhuleni, if you look at all the metros in Gauteng, typically being forgotten, the forgotten metro. And so ActionSA taking an unexpected turn in the appointment of Xolani Khumalo as their mayoral candidate ahead of next year. And certainly, if one looks at some of the commentary on social media, quite an unexpected, announcement. And as you rightfully say, Thabo, Xolani is someone who is known on television, on that Sizok'thola, show in which he specifically targets drug syndicates, alleged drug syndicates, rooting out crime in the community of Ekurhuleni. He said to the crowd today, I've born and raised here, I know this community, and so I know best how to deal with the issues here. So certainly it will be up to the voter next year. And ActionSA speaking to that voter apathy that we've seen over the years, saying, really, you need to go to the voting polls to vote next year, and if you want to see change in this community.
Does he land as a natural politician? I mean, you've heard many politicians speak before, but ActionSA's Mashaba is not a natural politician himself. He's a businessman. So when he came in, many people would have been asked the question, or asking that question, whether does he land to be a natural politician? He has since grown into that role, so to speak. But how do you find Xolani?
You know what, he was quite, excited specifically about today's announcement, but also someone whose temperament seems quite reserved, and someone who really says, my work will speak for itself. Certainly his background being one from television, and I asked him that specific question. If one looks at the work you've done on Sizok'thola, do you think that will inform the kind of decisions you make should you become a mayor of Ekurhuleni? And saying yes, because I know the inroads in the community. I know, the back roads. I know, how to deal with this community. So certainly not a typical politician, but leveraging from his experience, from his work in television, but also the fact that he was born and raised in that community.
Yeah. ActionSA, on the build-up to the national government election, was their first time coming into the space of national. They would have come in on strongly the ticket of dealing with undocumented nationals in the country. Xolani, because of the work that he has been doing, of course, he has also had that kind of slant, I suppose, in how he would have approached his television show. Is that continuing?
Certainly, and that was the message today. Dealing with so-called drug dealers in the communities, undocumented migrants in the community, the stuff that he's already been doing on television, taking that forward. Certainly, one might look at some of the challenges he even faced as a host of that show. I mean, he had, was facing very serious charges back in 2023, murder being one of them, but he was cleared of those in April this year. So, saying that they will approach this robustly, and it goes in line with the message that ActionSA has already been saying in terms of dealing with crime, dealing with drug syndicates, dealing with corruption, dealing with undocumented migrants. So it's still in line with that theme. And certainly if one looks at the character that Mr. Xolani Khumalo has been in the public space, that message certainly organically, it seems, aligning with what ActionSA has already been saying.
Yeah. Does he understand, though? I mean, really, running a municipalities, completely different to being a presenter on a television program. And Ekurhuleni has got many challenges. I mean, there's an issue of corruption that he would need to deal with as an auditor that was killed there. There was issue of billings that would have been tampered with that they needed to deal with. You are also at some point needing to be in there managing a coalition, which is currently the situation there. There is a lot of trouble in Bedford View, water infrastructure. I mean, there are a lot of issues over and above the simple things of we are going to deal with crime.
Certainly. And if one looks at the recent report by the SIU into Tembisa Hospital, certainly one that they say they understand that the roots in Ekurhuleni, as was said, the forgotten metro, there has been tentacles of corruption there that they are looking to uproot. But it's really all speculative in terms of how he'll run things there, because as we know, he doesn't necessarily have that political background, but he will certainly be challenged. We did ask Mr. Mashaba about coalition and whether he'd enter into those talks. And Mashaba saying, yes, they're open to coalition talks because at this point, no one party seems to be able to, hold a metro, but certainly being open to speaking to any organization that aligns with them.
Yeah. What did Mashaba say about the call to South Africans, particularly on failed promises?
He's saying there that the time is over for failed promises. It's time to deliver to the communities of South Africa, dealing with crime, dealing with water losses, power outages, basic services. Certainly, it's them making another promise that they will deal with it. And it is about waiting to see if they'll deliver on their promises.
Yeah, let's take that bite.
A call to every South African who still believes in this beautiful country of ours. A call to every South African who refuses to give up on the dream of a better life. Because, let us be honest, the promise of South Africa has not yet been fulfilled. We love our country, but we hate what politicians have done to it. For far too long, our cities and towns and villages have been ruled by thieves, liars, and failed career politicians.
So, Mr. Mdluli, you've heard it there from Mr. Mashaba. So, as I was saying before, that Xolani Khumalo himself, citing the fact that he comes from the community of Ekurhuleni. Take a listen to what he had to say.
But I come back today for a different fight. This time, it is to end the rot that has crippled South Africa's industrial heartland, which is Ekurhuleni. I want you to know very well that Ekurhuleni is the industrial heart of Gauteng. But the rot and corruption has crippled us. So Sizok'thola. As dangerous as drug dealers and gangsters are, the greatest criminals are not hiding in shadows. The greatest criminals are in government offices. From the ANC to the DA and their so-called GNU.
Katleho, how would you gauge the reception in the room? I mean, we're hearing some voices there, but overall, could he be a surprise candidate?
You know what? He certainly is. And it was a surprise. I think none of us expected this. And it goes hand in hand, perhaps, with the trend of Mr. Mashaba's own political career. He's become, I think, somewhat that surprise mayor who surprised the city of Joburg. And certainly when we asked him about Joburg as well, not wanting to share too much information, but he knows that there's anticipation to hear who's ActionSA's mayoral candidate in the city of Joburg. Yeah. So certainly looking forward to a very robust fight, political fight ahead of the local government election.